Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, wherever you are. About to fire up and start today's episode. So, yeah, just confirming that everything is live. Yep, okay, everything is live. We start. Hello, friends. Good afternoon, good evening to you guys. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys had a great Sunday. My Sunday was great. I had a great time today, and I hope yours was great too. Um, we're still talking Discipline Life series, and this is episode number 6. So, wow, we've been kind of fast paced episodes, and here we stand at episode number 6. So, it's been a series of great lessons. So, please, if you've not watched the past episodes, they are all in the live recording session of our channel. Kindly watch them and let us know what you think about it. Let us know your thoughts. Then we can answer questions if they come up. All right, let me start today's episode. So, this episode number 6, and the title of this episode is Standards Decide Your Future. Standards decide your future. There's a truth most people avoid because it's uncomfortable. There's a truth most people avoid because it's uncomfortable. Your life is not defined by your goals, it's defined by what you tolerate. Your life is not defined by your goals, it's defined by what you tolerate. What you allow in your schedule, what you excuse in your habits, what you overlook in yourself, over time, tolerance becomes a lifestyle. Over time, tolerance becomes a lifestyle, and discipline is the moment you decide this is no longer acceptable. Discipline is the moment you say, you know what, Matt, I think this is no longer acceptable. This realization usually doesn't come during a crisis. It comes in quiet moments, very quiet moments. You look around, you just look around your life and you think, how did this become normal? You look around your life and you just feel, how did this become normal? Not chaotic, just less than you hoped for. You start living a subpar life. You start living a life that is not up to what you have dreamed about, what you have thought about, what you have hoped about. Less focus, less energy, less intention. Nothing dramatic happened. You just kept tolerating things. You promised yourself these things were temporary before you know they became permanent somehow. As always with all these lessons, I break all the lives into segments. So the same thing with this. So segment number 1, why standards matters more than goals. And if you're just joining us, thanks for joining us. This is still the Discipline Life series. We're still talking about Discipline Life. And today's title is Standards Decides Your Future. Segment number 1, why standards matters more than goals. Goals sounds very impressive. If you know me, I'm big on goals. In this channel, I'm big on goals. Goals sounds very impressive. Standards are quiet. Standards are quiet. Goals are what you want. What you want. Standards are what you live by. All right, I'm doing some kind of differentiation between them now. Goals are what you want, standards are what you live by. You can miss a goal and recover, you know. You can miss a goal and recover. But when your standards are low, your life slowly declines without drama, without noise. Your life just slowly declines when your standards are low. So you can see the importance of standards and goals. You can miss a goal and still somehow find your way back and still get things going. But when your standards are low, your life goes into a decline. It goes steep down the hill, but not so steep that you don't know all out of in at once. It takes some time, but definitely your life starts going down the drain without drama. Discipline is raising the floor, not just chasing the ceiling. You know, raising the floor, not just chasing the ceiling. Think about how many people set goals every year. So this is just first of February right now, and I do know that some of us must have set goals for the month or for the quarter. We're still trying to get our goals for the quarter up and running, or some people are going to set goals for the new month. The field is inspired in the beginning of the week, the beginning of the month, the beginning of the year. They're talking about big plans, you know, talking about things that will happen, things that will be done. Yet they live the same year over and over again. They live the same way over and over again. Hello, boss baby. I see you. Thanks for joining. They live the same way over and over again. Thank you so much for joining. I see you, boss baby. Not because the goals were bad, all right? The problem were not the goals, but because their daily standards never changed. So you could see that the goals itself were not the problem. The problem was their standards never changed. So no matter how it is, no matter the amount of goals you set, I did say the other day that you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your standards. All right? Goals aim high, you can aim high, but standards decide what you accept every day. Goals aim very high. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But what do you accept on a daily basis? That's where standards comes into play. So let's go to segment number 2. The slow drift caused by low standards. I did say that one of the big difference between goals and standard is a goal can be missed and you still get to where you want to get to. You can miss a goal. You can bend goals and still get to where you want to get to. But when your standards are low, you go into what we call a steady decline. The output of your life goes down the hill, but it goes slowly. So you don't know because it becomes normal, it becomes second nature to you. You just find yourself living life that way, not even knowing that, oh, these are low standards. I'm just setting for myself. Segment number 2, the slow drift caused by low standards. Now, no one wakes up and decide to live below their potential. No one does that. No one wakes up and decides to say, oh, I'm going to live below what I can do. It happens gradually. It happens little by little. One exception becomes a pattern. One compromise becomes normal. One excuse becomes identity. If you do well and go back to the videos we talked about a couple of days ago, we talked about one of the video is still in this series was when you are the one that set the time for yourself. You're the one that set the alarm clock. But when the alarm clock rings, you snooze it. You snooze it. That's what we call gradual work towards losing self-trust. Gradual drift towards losing self-trust. That's what this is also talking about here. One exception you take becomes a pattern. One compromise becomes normal. One excuse becomes identity. And the scariest part, it doesn't feel dangerous when it starts. It doesn't feel dangerous. Oh, it's reasonable. Oh, Matt, I'm tired. Of course you are. I need to sleep more. Oh, that's true. That's true. That's okay. But that's how standards start falling. That's how standards, because you set a standard, but right now you're not living up to your standards because, oh, of course you need to sleep more. Of course you're tired. You're human, of course. but that is standards you are puncturing. And that's how people drift without knowing. I'll just let this slide just this once. Let me just do it. Let me just sleep tonight. All right. I'm tired. I deserve this rest. Oh, yes, you deserve it. I'll tighten up things later. You see someone saying, you know what? Let me just leave what I need to do today. Let me just move on. I'll tighten up what I need to do later. Later turns into months. Months turns into years. And one day you realize you didn't fall or you didn't fail. You just settled slowly. All right, your standards just it just reduced slowly. Nothing drastic. So you might not even get to know that your standard has reduced. So let's look at segment number 3. Why disciplined people seem strict. So I think when I was talking about this, the first thing we're talking about, we started this discipline series. So that'll be in episode number 1. Somebody made a comment and he said, Matt, do you know disciplined people are strict? I said yes. So I wrote it down somewhere. I think I just picked it up. Why disciplined people feel strict? Disciplined people look strict because they don't negotiate with themselves often. Disciplined people don't negotiate with themselves often. They don't ask, can I get away with this? What they ask is, does this align with who I am becoming? I did say in one of our videos, the videos where we talked about life frameworks, please, if you have not seen that, go see it. When we talked about the be, do, have framework, I did say everything channels, everything moves towards becoming. Everything moves towards being, because once you be, you're going to do, and once you do, you're going to have. All right. Now, the disciplined man said, does this align with who I am becoming? Whatever is happening. Standards simplify life. They remove debate. All right. They remove barrier. They bring in clarity. And debate is where discipline dies. Now, you wake up in the morning, you're thinking, oh, should I or shouldn't I? Should I not go? I'm tired. Yes, you are tired. This for sure. We know that. Let me just leave this for today. I'll do it again tomorrow. That is you accepting a lower standard for yourself without even saying it out loud. And like I did say, it drifts gradually. Now, from the outside, it looks rigid. From the outside, it looks right. Somebody looking at you, it looks correct. But from the inside, it feels freezing. Because when standards are clear, there's less arguing with yourself. There's less arguing with yourself. You have fewer emotional decisions to make. You have less regret afterward. Because what happens is that with disciplined people, you've already decided on what to do. You don't change things over every junction, everything that doesn't work properly, you change your plan. No. And one of the things we talked about yesterday, when we talked about boundaries, we said someone that's not disciplined, they love novelty. They jump from idea to idea, not even waiting to pull something through. All right? Strictness isn't control. Strictness is clarity. The disciplined people like to be strict, or are strict because they like to be clear. They like to be clear. They don't like noise around what they do. Segment number 4, standards are self-respect made practical. We did talk about self-respect. I think that should be, if I'm not mistaken, that should be episode number 4. We talked about we said discipline is self-respect. But right now I'm saying standards are self-respect made practical. Self-respect isn't just how you feel about yourself. It's what you refuse to accept. Self-respect is what you refuse to accept. Standards shows up in how late you're willing to stay up, what kind of chaos you tolerate, the effort you consider enough, right? Discipline is turning values into behavior. Now, around you every day, think about this. Many people say they value peace, right? They value health, they value growth. Just think about it. This happens every day with every one of us. People say they value peace, they value health, they value growth. But their standards tells a different story. Their standards tells a different story. They value rest but tolerate exhaustion. Does that tally? Does that tally? You hear somebody say, "Oh, I value rest," but this guy he tolerates exhaustion. He pulls himself all the way. They value growth but tolerate distraction. Does that tally? Does that tally? They value peace but tolerate chaos. So you can see that the standard tells a different story from what they even say with their mouth. Standards reveal what we truly believe about ourselves, right? Standards reveal our inner workings, what we truly believe, not just what we say. A lot of things can make us say what we just want to say, but what you do, your standards reveals what you actually believe deep down. Segment number 5. These are more like real life example. Now, this shows up everywhere, in your workplace, in your church, in your community, in your city, even your family. You see someone as you accept chronic lateness from others or yourself. We set up a time that we're going to start this by 5 o'clock. Someone comes, strolls in by 8 o'clock, or strolls in by 5:30, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. We just take it. Of course, we are taking the standard down. We are bringing the standard down. Or you see, allowing clutter to become normal. You see things scattered everywhere. You allow it in your mind. It's okay to live like that. The whole thing is that you're bringing down the standards, letting health slide for the now, lowering expectation because it's easy. Whether in your work, whether in your school, whether anywhere you are, you lower expectations because things are easy. It's going to be easily met, right? None of these ruin life instantly. All these examples I give, none of them will say, "Oh, you're going to die today." No, you don't get that. They erode life quietly. They erode life quietly. Standards protect direction. Standards protect direction. Most people don't notice erosion happening. They don't notice that their life is going down the hill. They don't notice. They just feel more tired. They feel less motivated. They feel more frustrated. And they can't explain why. If you ask them, "Oh, Mr. Jake, why are you more tired?" They can't explain. Or why are you feeling less motivated? It just can't explain. Or why is it that you're frustrated? They can't put words to it. They can't put 2 or 3 words together. It's simply because what you tolerate today becomes what you live with tomorrow. What you tolerate today becomes your lifestyle tomorrow. So that's why we'll say standards is key to your future. The more you maintain your standard, the more a better future you're going to have. The more you reduce your standard, the less a better future you're going to have. It is proportionate. It's so clear. There's not we don't need to explain that anymore. Hello, Neymar. Hello, I see you. How you doing? We don't need to explain that too much. But as we always say, raising standards feels uncomfortable, right? But I'll talk about why is that. Raising standards means disappointing old version of yourself. If I say, okay, right, let's Neymar, you want to raise your standard to be something better than what you are today. What it means is that you're going to disappoint your old version of yourself. It means outgrowing certain environment. We did talk about environment in one of the other videos we did. If you have not seen that, please go look at that. And if you've not subscribed to our channel, kindly subscribe. We have a lot of videos there. Oh, thank you so much, Neymar. My day is great. Hope your day is also great. Raising standard means it will make you feel friction with clarity. But that discomfort you're experiencing is temporary. So you might say, "Oh, Matt, I'm trying to raise my standard and I'm feeling this, that. I'm feeling this kind of discomfort." Yes, I get it. Because you're trying to raise up your standard, you're going to feel uncomfortable, and note that discomfort is temporary. It's temporary, it's short-lived. The peace that comes from alignment lasts much longer. There's this peace that comes from alignment, from this peace that comes from knowing that, oh, I am doing things the way I said I would do it, and I'm doing things the right way. That peace, it lasts much longer. All right? Discipline is choosing long-term clarity over short-term comfort. Long-term clarity is chosen over short-term comfort. Raising standards often means saying no when you used to say yes. Now, we talked about this yesterday a lot. Most of the time, because we want to appear as a good guy, we want to appear as the guy that everybody can lean on and stuff like that, we say yes to everything. We say yes even to our own detriment. We say yes even when it affects our own health. I've told you guys before, that is what you call self-sabotage. You're not actually helping yourself. You're not helping anyone, and yourself in particular. Because you're taking too much more than your capacity. So saying no when we say yes, saying no when we used to say yes, is a good point to start raising your standard or I. Living spaces that feels familiar. Living spaces that feels familiar, going to unfamiliar terrain. That breeds growth. It breeds growth. Walking in unfamiliar terrain, not staying in places where everything is familiar. Familiarity is a problem in that front. Or being misunderstood for a season. When you start raising your standard up, for sure you'll be misunderstood for a season, but that's okay. That's okay. Growth almost always feels lonely at first. We've said that a couple of times in this channel. Growth almost always feels lonely at first. When your target is growth, most of the time you feel alone. When your target is growth, most of the time you feel alone. Because what you're seeing is not what everyone is saying. So growth almost always feels lonely at first. And it's not because you're wrong, but because you've changed. And that's the truth. Let's face the fact, you've changed. Segment number 7. You don't rise to goals, but you fall to standards. I've said that before. In pressure, you don't rise to intention. You fall to what's practiced. I'll take that again. In pressure or during pressure, you don't rise to intention. You fall to what's practiced. That's why standards matter. Standards decide how you respond under stress, what you default to when you're tired, who you are when no one is watching. When nobody's here, what do? It is just you and you. You can do the stuff and just go away with it. But because of your standard, you know that no, I can't stoop that low. I can't stoop that low. It's not that somebody's gonna look at me, somebody's seeing me doing it. No. Just because I've already worked on my standards, I can't stoop that low. And we did make mention, we said discipline builds what we call reliable defaults. Reliable default. When life gets heavy, and of course it will, life will get heavy if it's not even heavy enough for a lot of people, you don't suddenly become disciplined. No, you don't suddenly become disciplined. You reveal what you have been practicing quietly. Like we did say the other day, we said wealth and poverty, they're in and of itself, they don't have what we call intrinsic value. What happens is that when somebody is poor, he shows what is God in him already. His response to poverty is what is God in him. Also the same thing, if you are wealthy, if you were bad before you became wealthy, the money will amplify your character. The money amplifies your character. It shows what you were before you got the money. So that's what I'm talking about here. When life gets heavy, and life will get heavy, you don't suddenly become disciplined. No. You reveal what you have been practicing quietly. So whatever happens in that instance, it's not, you can't just pick up discipline from your pocket and you're like, oh yeah, this is it now, I'm going to be disciplined. No. You're going to reveal who you are all the while. That's why standards are not optional. They are not, friends. They are not. Standards are preparation. And like you do know, on this channel, I do ask a question that doesn't have an answer. I don't want you to answer, just this is between you and yourself. Now, let me ask you that honestly. What are you tolerating right now that's quietly shaping your future? What are you tolerating right now that is quietly shaping your future? Whether good or bad. Whether good or bad. What are you tolerating that is quietly shaping your future? Now, it's very important we know this for ourselves, because at the end of the day, what happens is that whatever it is, it will determine our standards going forward. I'm not talking about what you hate. I'm talking about what you have gotten used to. What you have gotten used to without knowing. It has reduced, it has brought down your standard. We are still talking about, this is still Discipline Life series. And today we're talking about why standards affect your future. And I just asked a question. I said, what are you tolerating right now that is quietly shaping your future? And not what you hate, what you're getting used to. That answer tells you where discipline must grow next in your life. That answer itself tells you where discipline must grow next. You know, this is the moment where people get quiet, where they start thinking about their lives. What are you tolerating that is shaping your future in ways you don't want? And what are you tolerating that is shaping your future in ways that you want? In the ways that you don't want, what you need to do, that's where discipline needs to come into the picture next. You need to be able to say no where you used to say yes. You need to be able to tell yourself, hey, random edit, say, are you a Christian? Yeah, I am a Christian. Thank you, sir, for asking. You need to be able to say no where you used to say yes. You need to be able to understand that you as a human has a capacity. You need to know that. You need to know that. All right. Now, the reason why when I ask this question, a lot of people keep quiet is that deep down they already know the answer. They know the answer most of the time, right? So you don't even need me to ask. I'm just asking just to remind you. Standards are not about perfection. I've always said this. So this channel is not a hype sport. So if you're looking for hype, please swipe and go to the next channel. This is not a hype spot. This is a channel where growth is discussed, where our focus is growth. And whatever we do is channeled towards growth. Standards are not about perfection. They are about direction. They quietly decide the quality of your life. This is disciplined life, my friends. And this is where discipline raises the floor of your future. Thank you so much, friends, for joining. Thank you for your support. Now, if you've not subscribed to our channel, kindly subscribe. We have a lot of these videos. We do live every day, and we have all the videos in the live section of the channel. You can go watch it and let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think. Like I always say, there's no right and wrong answer. We can always question every truth. All right. Thank you so much, friends. See you tomorrow. And besides, this is Matt Miller signing out for the night. Peace out.